Hey, welcome to World Entertainment, and we are back with more Star Trek news. And of course, you've seen that thumbnail, and yes, it is true. Scott Bakula, or Bakula, however you pronounce it, I've always said Bakula, wants his Star Trek return. And this isn't something of the actors just speaking out because he wants a role or something. This is actually something that has been worked on and has been discussed for a while now, apparently. Not with Alex Kurtzman, but at this stage, do we want an Archer return? From my point of view, no, because it would be under the Kurtzman regime. But let's have a look at exactly what's going on, because, you know, for over a decade, it's been one of the biggest what ifs in Star Trek fandom, of course, because it is a story left unfinished and a captain whose journey was cut short. But now the conversation is changing, apparently, because Scott Bakula has shown he is ready to leap back to Starfleet, and a newly revived proposal for a high-stakes political thriller, that's the thing, could finally give us the next chapter of Archer's story. You know, it's sounding rough already, kind of, isn't it? So this isn't just another fan rumor, of course. You know, that's the thing we're looking at here, and you have to keep that in mind, that this is a concrete pitch with a title even, and a concept, and a star who is reportedly intrigued and ready to talk. The pieces are on the board for what could be the most unique Star Trek series I think we've ever seen. And shall we dive into exactly what's going on with this, because this is insane. So let's have a look anyway. So let's start with the man himself, Scott Bakula. For years, the end of Star Trek Enterprise has been a sore spot for fans. Cancelled after just 4 seasons, its final is widely considered one of the most unsatisfying in the franchise's history. A strange holodeck episode that sidelined the very characters we'd grown to love. It left the story of Captain Jonathan Archer, the first man to command the Starship Enterprise, feeling incomplete. Since then, fans have clamoured for some kind of continuation. That hope, once a distant dream, is now looking like a distinct possibility. Following the success of Star Trek Picard, that should say success of Season 3 of Picard, because the other 2 were not successes at all, which saw Patrick Stewart return to his iconic role, Enterprise writer and producer Michael Sussman revealed that he and Scott Bakula began discussing a similar return for Archer. What started as a joke in an email exchange, Sussman asked Bakula, "How soon are we going to see a Star Trek Archer on Paramount Plus?" Quickly turned into a serious conversation. According to Sussman, Bakula immediately gloomed into the idea. After 98 episodes, Bakula felt he had thoroughly explored Archer as a starship captain, but the new direction they discussed presented a fresh challenge. It was an opportunity to explore Archer at a completely different point in his life, and Bakula was reportedly very intrigued by that prospect. This isn't an actor vaguely saying, "Sure, I'd come back." This is a star actively collaborating on a concept, ready to step back into a universe that for many he helped build. Now, before we continue, everything you're hearing there is the exact same type of crap we heard with Patrick Stewart and Alex Kurtzman for Picard. The fact as well that Patrick Stewart was very much involved with the discussions, very much involved with the pitch and the idea and stuff. Exactly what we're hearing here for Archer and Scott Bakula, and that, oh, it'll be a completely different point in his life and stuff like that. That's everything you don't want to hear. So it continues anyway, saying the proposal. So what exactly is the idea that captured Scott Bakula's interest? The proposed series has a working title, Star Trek United, and its origins are pulled from a tiny detail planted in Enterprise itself nearly 2 decades ago. In the Season 4 episode In a Mirror Darkly Part 2, The evil mirror universe version of Archer accesses his historical database for a Prime Universe USS Defiant. For a split second on screen, a biography of Archer, Jonathan Archer, is available. That graphic, written by Michael Schumann himself, laid out Archer's entire future career. It revealed that after his time in the captain's chair, Archer would become an admiral, an ambassador to Andoria, a Federation councilman, and then, between the years 2184 and 2192, he would be elected president of the United Federation of Planets. Schumann realized he had planted the seeds for a new series all those years ago. Star Trek United would be a political thriller and family drama set during those chaotic, formative years of the Federation. Forget the established, stable Federation we've seen in Kirk's or Picard's time. This series would be set in the trenches of its creation. Schumann has compared its potential tone to acclaimed shows like The West Wing, Homeland, and The Diplomat. It would explore the messy, high-stakes world of galactic politics, focusing on diplomacy, governance, and the immense pressure of holding a fragile alliance of worlds together. This isn't about seeking out new life, it's about building new civilizations from the ground up. Everything you hear at the end of that part has you incredibly worried as well. Especially when, once again, we're not getting a Star Trek show pitched as a Star Trek show, we're getting it pitched as, oh, it's gonna be in the tone of West Wing and Homeland. Why can't it be pitched as, it's the next Star Trek show? Plus, to say it's the Federation, but not like we've ever seen it before. It's exactly how we've seen it before through all of Kurtzman's Trek, because Starfleet and Alex Kurtzman's Trek has been this unbelievable, disconnected, xenophobic state, basically. It's never been the Starfleet we've seen in Kirk and Picard's time, so all of that is a bit weird. So this then says, the most exciting part of the Star Trek United proposal is how it would break new ground for the franchise. Michael Schumann has stated that one of his biggest aspirations for the series would be for it to do for Star Trek what Andor did for Star Wars. That statement alone should get every fan excited. Andor was a game changer, telling a grounded, mature, and politically complex story about adults making difficult choices, and it did so within a massive, well-known universe. Just before I go on with this part of this article, keep what they've just said there in mind. Telling a grounded, mature, and politically complex story about adults making difficult decisions. Do you think that from Star Trek all the way to Star Trek Enterprise, it was a bunch of kids making dumb decisions? No, it's always been adults making difficult choices. Every single season, in every single episode, from the very first episode right up to the very last episode of Enterprise, it's been adults dealing with actual difficult choices that have been grounded and mature. So all of that is just dumb. But it's saying anyway, imagine that same approach applied to Star Trek, which we've literally just gone over, as I said. A series that isn't afraid to get its hands dirty with the gritty realities of nation building. What does it actually look like when Vulcans, Andorians, Tellarites, and humans try to draft a constitution? How do you handle interstellar trade disputes, espionage from rival powers like the Romulans, or internal factions threatening to tear the new government apart before it even begins? This would be a Star Trek show where the primary conflicts aren't resolved with a well-aimed phaser blast, but through tense negotiations, backroom deals, and moral compromises. It would be a series about the weight of leadership, where President Archer's biggest battles are fought not on the bridge of a starship, but in the halls of power on Earth. It's an opportunity to explore the philosophical and ethical core of Star Trek from a completely new angle, one that is more relevant today than ever. The concept moves beyond the final frontier of space and into the complex frontier of society itself. Red alert already, hey? So, this is a bold new vision for what Star Trek can be, blending established lore with a completely new genre for the franchise. So, at this stage, do let me know what you're actually thinking of this. Are you on board for this, or are you starting to kind of go, no, this just sounds like all the same BS we've been getting from Kurtzman Trek? Because it's exactly that. But let me know if you're actually interested in this. Join in and do let us know in the comments. But anyway, it continues saying, a series like Star Trek United wouldn't just be about politics. It would be about a deep character study of Jonathan Archer. The man we would meet as Federation president would be decades removed from the optimistic, sometimes impulsive captain we knew on the NX-01. His experience during the Xindi crisis, his encounters with the Romulans, and the very act of bringing warring species together to form the Federation would have profoundly shaped him. This would be an older, more seasoned Archer, a man who carries the weight of every decision, every life lost, and every compromise made to achieve peace. How does the captain, who was often defined by his gut feelings and his deeply personal connections, navigate a world of cold, hard politics? This series could explore the personal toll of his presidency. We know he was a lifelong water polo fan with a beloved beagle named Porthos. How do those simple parts of his humanity survive the immense pressure of the highest office in the galaxy? Furthermore, the show could explore his relationship with the characters we already know. What role would T'Pol play in the new government? Perhaps as a key Vulcan advisor. How would Archer's friendship with the Andorian commander Shireen, one of the best relationships in Enterprise, translate to the political arena, especially since Archer's official biography mentions him serving as ambassador to Andoria? This is a chance to see the evolution not just of a captain, but of an entire generation of pioneers as they transition from being explorers to being founders. It's a story about the burdens of legacy and the sacrifices required to turn a hopeful idea into a lasting reality. Beyond being a compelling character piece, Star Trek United is perfectly positioned to fill in one of the most crucial and underexplored gaps in the Star Trek timeline. It would serve as the definitive bridge between an era of Enterprise and the world of the original series, which has already been filled in terribly. We would get to see the why behind the Federation we know. The series could tackle foundational questions head on. How was the Prime Directive formally debated and codified? Well, we know why and we've seen why. We saw Archer struggle with the concept of non-interference. Watching him preside over its official creation would be fascinating. How were the foundational principles of Starfleet, exploration, defense, and science balanced in the early federal budget? What were the first major threats to the young Federation, both internal and external? This setting provides a perfect canvas to show the early days of Starfleet Academy, the construction of the first starbase, and the formation of relationships with major powers like the Klingons. We could see the political fallout from the Earth-Romulan War, and the establishment of the neutral zone from the Federation's perspective. It's a chance to witness the birth of the institution that would define the next 200 years of the galaxy. By focusing on the political architecture, Star Trek United could enrich the entire canon. giving new weight and context to the adventures of every captain who followed Archer. It would be a history lesson and a political thriller rolled into one, making the universe feel more real and cohesive than ever before. Again, all of that is a massive issue because we've already seen what these morons do when they go back into lore and to the side of canon. They've destroyed it. They had no idea what to do. They still don't know what to do and they're still destroying canon. Could you imagine them going even further back? How much crap they would change that would absolutely affect everything we've already seen. We've already seen the Prime Directive being established and why it was established. This idea that it's never been seen is just ridiculous. So, let's recap. We have Scott Bakula, the original Captain Archer, officially interested and excited to return to the role. We have a concept pitch from a veteran Star Trek writer, Michael Schuesman, for a series called Star Trek United. The concept is a high-stakes political thriller being compared to The West Wing and Andor. Wrap your head around that part. They're comparing an idea for a new Star Trek show to a Star Wars show. That's going to go down well with people. That would explore Jonathan Archer's term as the President of the Federation. The pitch was made to Paramount, and while it was initially passed on, there's new hope the idea could be revisited. This is more than just a pipe dream. It's a fully formed concept that addresses a long-held fan desire to see Archer's story continue, while simultaneously pushing the franchise in a bold, new and mature direction. That's ridiculous to say that. It connects the dots of the canon, offers a rich character study, and has a star ready to lead it. And that, of course, brings me to asking you guys, what storylines would you want to see if they were to actually do this? Which, let's face it, none of us really want to see this. Just everything that it's saying here is just ridiculous. Like the fact that it's saying, oh, we could finally get a mature take on Star Trek was always mature. The idea that it wasn't is just ridiculous. The stories they told, the characters they developed and everything was so mature and fascinating. And yet, everybody could sit down and watch it and get excited by it. Kids, families, you name it, everybody. You cannot do that with modern Star Trek at all. Imagine sitting down with your kids, your little 5-year-olds and your 6-year-olds and whatever, even 10-year-olds, and watching Star Trek to hear F-bombs being dropped here, there and everywhere, to watch eyeballs get ripped out and heads decapitated, to watch a Klingon grape scene. You'd be like, what the hell is this? This ain't Star Trek. What's going on? Cover your eyes, little Timmy. It's like insane. And this idea that, oh, these guys could go back and redo it. The fact that Paramount has already shot this down, that's a good sign. Now, obviously where they're saying the excitement is it could get revisited is because Skydance has come in. But everything we're starting to see from Skydance would indicate that they would pass on this as well. Because they would look at it and go, this will cost too much for us to do. Yeah, you just want to set it on Earth, so it's not going to cost much in terms of mad special effects for starships here, there and everywhere. But your actor's going to cost us money. To try and bring everyone else back in if they want to would cost us money. All of this type of stuff is just insane. The sets you'd build for like the Federation Grand Hall or something would probably be insanely expensive. So yeah, Skydance will probably say no to this as well. But let's finish it up with the path for Star Trek United is far from certain. Hollywood is a complicated business and many promising ideas never make it to the screen. The project has been pitched but hasn't been greenlit. However, the sheer passion from both the creators and the star, combined with a concept that feels both fresh and deeply respectful of the lore, makes this one of the most exciting potential projects in the Star Trek universe right now. It represents a chance to right the wrongs of Enterprise's cancellation and give a foundational character the next chapter he truly deserves. Again, you're just hearing them trying to spew out crap to justify why this thing could exist. We've seen the damage that Alex Kurtzman's Trek has done. Discovery, has done so much damage. Like, absolutely so much damage. Strange New Worlds right now is doing so much damage. Picard did so much damage. It's all done so much damage. To go back to Archer, remove him from being a captain, put him as a guy behind a desk to watch a political show in modern day Star Trek would be a colossal disaster. I know it. You guys know it. But again, do let me know what you think of this. And if you are interested, what kind of storylines would you like to actually see? Where would you like to see it actually go? What would your ideas be for where they could take it? And this idea that, oh, T'Pol would possibly be his right hand. No, she pretty much seemed to be staying on board Enterprise and stuff like that. So, yeah. And good luck getting Jolene Bollock back out into acting, because I'm pretty sure she retired from acting not all that long after Enterprise. So yeah, you would have to bring out that checkbook. So this probably isn't happening. I don't want it to happen. Yeah, it's great to hear Scott Bakula's up for it and everything like that, and he's excited for it, but at the same time, so was Patrick Stewart, and look at the disaster that was the first 2 seasons of Picard. So hopefully this doesn't actually get picked up, but maybe I'm in this camp on my own. Once again, do let me know what you guys actually think of this. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.